This video is sponsored by my OnlyFans, where I do my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. And hi guys, and welcome to Geri Reviews, and to this reaction and basically a review of Lamenters Story. So this is one of those things that you guys recommended to me, and since I've already covered Ogryn's story and it was pretty damn impressive for something that I haven't even, I'm not used to such type of a Warhammer content in this audio format, like a telling a story and then you have pictures and all of that. I mean, lore videos, yes, but it's basically an audiobook with pictures that some amazing and talented people wrote. Yeah, not used to it, but still, that was pretty impressive, guys, the Ogryn story. So from the same creator, now we have the Lamenters story, and as you well know, or as some of you know, the Lamenters are one of the most unfortunate chapters, successor chapters of 40k, and their story is really fascinating, guys. A sad one, but fascinating. So I'm happy for the feedback, guys. Thank you. My Primarchs are in the chat, almost all my Primarchs. Let's see this. I'm gonna put another window right here for the future super, not super, but short, super short. So yeah, let's see it, guys.
Do you know the word? Lament. Like many great words, it followed us from Terra. Do you know what it means? That word, lament. It means to mourn, to regret, to remember. We lamented. I lament. After our founding, when we were graced with our ceramite plates, our heraldry, and our name,
we saw the tumultuous events of the 21st founding.
We saw the traitors. We knew that our destiny lay elsewhere, so we did what a fleet-based legion does, and we flew. To the far reaches of the imperium, my brothers and I traveled. How those infinite gulfs between the stars parted before us. I could not tell you how many worlds we saved, how many trillions our actions have aided, directly or otherwise. With permission from our father, Sanguinius, we spread the only thing worth spreading: peace. Indeed, we did so through war, sometimes bloody, brutal, and inhumane war. But to look to the means and criticize them can render the ends broken. I can tell you of the people I myself aided. I can tell you of the cancers cured by the Narthesium I wore on my own arm. I can tell you of the worlds I saw, the worlds I helped rebuild. I can tell you of the scent of the bread baked with pink wheat in the hive world of Lonos, and how even now I can still smell that bread. How I remember handing it to the poor, the hungry, and the brave. I can tell you of the wine gifted to me by the Lady Regent of Norn. Wine made from fruit grown in her family's orchards, in the same orchards that have flowered for over 900 years. That bottle is still somewhere in the Imperium, though I do not know where. I cannot tell you of so much more, for those tales are lost. The records, those tablets, scrolls, and recordings are simply gone. Gone to the place where all tales of heroes must go.
Cast to the ethereal winds of the universe itself.
If I could tell you of our finest hour, I say the following without ego and pray I do not seem arrogant. I believe all should know of Corellia. Many of my former brothers in arms called us cursed. I do not consider such a descriptor to be apt or just. Being an apothecary, I work with only what I know and can see. However, not all are as I am. I learned that the hard way. The rumors of our legion being cursed spread like wildfire on the splinter-bark plains of Janasik. Thus, within a century, the rumor stuck. I admit, we had our share of bad fortune. There were battles we lost. A warrior who cannot admit his losses doesn't deserve to speak of his victories. Our chapter master was fond of saying that. I was coaching humbleness and truth. I hear his voice still, whispered sometimes on the wind, or echoing down an abandoned street. I'm losing my course, I apologize. I admit when a battle seems certain, something would occur to strip that certainty. Yes, we often knew the taste of the ash of loss on our tongues. But we also knew the glory of victory, of honor, and justice. I tell you of the rumor because it's important to understand how things are the way they are. Remember, means and ends. Corellia. How rarely I think of it now. In the 38th millennium, we were called homeward by the High Lords. You see, the Eye of Terror, the dreaded smear in the skies of so many worlds, had begun to vomit forth its insidious children once more.
This time, however, no mere rabble of babbling sycophants appeared.
Draped in the armor of the cowardly, armed with the weapons of a traitor and pulling hell behind him, Abaddon in his Black Crusade came forth. I will not call him the despoiler, for I believe that to give our enemies titles only emboldens them to further their wickedness. By the time we arrived, Abaddon had already burned a dozen worlds to ash, and offered just as many to his sorcerers, allowing demonic forces to claim billions as slaves or toys. We are not a chapter remembered for its wrath or hate. But trust me when I say this, we all hated him. We hated with an intensity reserved usually for love. By the time we reached the Segmentum, he had destroyed 2 entire chapters of Astartes. Both, coincidentally, named the Celestial Swords. May they find the peace that is earned by only the purest of warriors. And let me say a name to you. The Mortificators. You probably don't know who they are. That's no great loss. Their ranks are filled with warriors chosen from a night world. A small, savage place that does not breed humans. It breeds animals who just happen to be human. The Mortificators are a successor chapter of the Ultramarines.
Oh.
That is a fact that still surprises me to this day.
Oh,
Again,
me too.
you ask yourself, what all of this has to do with anything, correct? Well, the Mortificators were to hold Corellia alongside us. They were to defend its 9 billion population, its hab towers, its scolums, its refineries, all of it, from Abaddon and his Black Crusade. But we had spent 3 weeks building defenses, training humans and doing all we could. We received word that these noble sons of Gilliman, these successors to the legends of old McCrag, would not be helping those 9 billion people. They would not defend those hab towers, those scolums, or those refineries, because my brothers and I were cursed. They abandoned us.
Oh.
They abandoned the soldiers, the mothers and fathers, the grandparents, all of them. In the name of superstition, they sentenced so many to death. We did the best we could. If you have it within you, please believe me. We spent 6 weeks fighting. 6 weeks! So much is a blur. So much isn't even there. So much more isn't even a blur. I could list the names of the 804 Astartes who fell. I could tell you the color of their eyes, how they kept their hair, what jokes they laughed at. Or, I can tell you this. Each of them died for something greater than any of us.
Chills.
They fought for peace. They fought for a peace that Abaddon sought to choke from the citizens of the world. When all others turned away, we stood defiant, knowing the cost, gladly willing to pay it. After 6 weeks, the sons of the Great Khan and the sons of Gilliman appeared in the skies. The Mortificator's dereliction of duty had caused 4 billion deaths. Do I believe they could have saved every soul? No, I do not. Do I know that in combat, a single blade can change the tide of war? We left Corellia broken, with barely enough hands to turn our fleet outward toward the Gulf once more. I had to be subdued and forcibly sedated because I refused to leave. I was not alone. I believe we all would have laid our weapons down that day and stayed on Corellia. But we turned our heads and flew into the dark. We were gone for a century. That time spent in silence, meditation, remembering, mourning, lamenting. 2,000 years after Corellia, we were called on again. This time joining a shield made of 4 chapters, the Maelstrom Wardens. We were to flit around, being not much more than an early warning system. Fate, however, had a different idea. It was there we met the Astral Claws. No amount of recounted heroism will ever lead you to what the Astral Claws are today. The Red Corsairs, they call themselves now. Their leader has been reduced to a madman, supposedly a demon prince.
What a
I hope
waste.
that is not true.
I do not wish to imagine Luft Heron.
That rogue, as charming and noble warrior as that. Huron Blackheart and the Red Corsairs are not the Astral Claws. They cannot be. The Claws died on Badab. What a foolish waste.
Yeah, exactly.
Miscommunication. Misunderstanding. The Luft believed the Imperial rulers on Badab were not only corrupt, but inept and truly lost. I do not support his rebellion, knowing what it led to. But I do understand it. I admit that by this point he was a different being. Too many decades spent fighting demon incursions in the dark spaces of Space Hulks. Too many lost brothers. Too many ignored cost. Too many ignored pleas for aid. We saw his homeworld, the world of his legion being ill-treated and acted foolishly. The truth, you won't hear, is as follows. Huron begged and pleaded for assistance. He knew that the Wardens were too weak to hold back the horror. He begged for a crusade for support. He held others back, offering greater tithes if his pleadings were answered. That was the log that broke Barakon's back. Barakon refused to believe an Astartes would behave in such a way. What a trade prince knows of a warrior's life, I do not know. Huron wouldn't pay, and because he wouldn't pay, others had to. Remember this. Huron refused to pay tithes to those who wouldn't do the right thing. But his handwritten documents of succession guaranteed a bolstered bulwark against the horrors. Some traitor he was at the start, eh? Willing to defend the Imperium, just not willing to pay the extortionate rates of those trade guilds and the Mechanicus. I regret what happened, as do all the souls who witnessed tragedy. I am thankful that I was not there at the fall of the Firehawks. The sons of Vulcan carry with them the flame of humanity, and misunderstanding calls the Firehawks to be fired upon and killed. I remember my brother Shafi telling me what had happened. I remember how pale he was. It didn't take long for the news of the bloodshed and misunderstanding to spread. It quickly became a treachery and rebellion. My brothers and I were considered renegades.
And when the end of the Badab rebellion came, we surrendered to imperial justice.
Justice. Remember that word. We were cast off again into the space between the worlds to spend 100 years in crusade, atoning for our sins. Of course, our luck by then was spent. We faced the dreaded mindless horde of the Tyranids who, with time, decimated our numbers. And then the end came for us. All things must end. So did we. The death of my chapter saw the loss of perhaps the greatest breakthrough ever made by an apothecary. My surgeon brothers and I had managed to fix the flaw in our gene seed. We had cured the Black Rage.
What?
You may know of the lies of the Inquisition, but do you know that because of them, the flaw of the sons of the Blessed Angel may never be cured? Inquisitor Talorus betrayed not only my brothers, but also the Knights of the Raven and the Scythes of the Emperor. Our final death, the death of my chapter, came at the claws of a tendril of the dread High Fleet Kraken. It was there that I ended. After seeing so many of my kin consumed or ripped apart thanks to an Inquisitor, I knew it was over. And so did many others. In truth, I cannot tell you where many of us went. I know my dear friend Shiren was rumored lost in the void, but I see him sometimes, in my slumber. I do not believe he is dead, though I fear he may be. It's been many years since I've worn our plate, borne our heraldry, or seen another Astartes. You may have seen me on any number of so-called backwater worlds, helping those most in need. By modern imperial law, I'm a heretic, a traitor, a coward. I am none of those things. I simply seek to help. I seek to spread peace with what little power I still have. According to the codices of the Astartes, I'm deserving of execution. How can I do anything but help those I was conditioned to help? How can I not do what the Emperor made me do? And how can I do anything but mourn my lost brethren? Do you know what lament means? To lament. It means to mourn, to regret, to remember. I still see my long-lost friends. I still think fondly of the human families I aided. I can never forget Luf's broken hearts as he saw the Imperium's response to his actions. I remember a past future that will never be. One that lives on in my mind. I lament the losses of so many heroes and heroines, so many dreams and loves. But then again, what am I supposed to do? I was a lamenter once.
Jesus. Yeah, Jackalow Warrior. Here, guys. Is this like I have no words. Guys, this was absolutely amazing. I actually like this more than I liked the other one, which was, also amazing. Oh my freaking goodness. Is this based on the real story? I mean, I know a part of their story, so some elements sounded familiar, but is this, based on the lore and he just wrote, something to accompany that, if it's from the perspective of one of the Lamenters? If that's the case, it's absolutely amazing. And it just represents the two-faced nature of the Imperium nowadays. And that the Lamenters have true values. When I first started covering Bricky and his 2 reactions, he said nobody in the Imperium is actually good, they're all evil, but that is technically not true because, as I explained back then, there's a lot of the chapters, hi to you, Matty, that they have, real values. They have moral system in place. They're not all like, I'm just gonna blindly kill, even if they follow the Emperor and the Emperor is not correct in his actions sometimes. That doesn't mean that some of the Astartes, they don't hold real warrior principles, values, and they don't have sympathy towards the regular human being. Like the salamanders, they care about people sometimes, really. I mean, the Astartes are made to serve the emperor, no matter what that entails, yes, and they do. But they're also made to protect the imperium, and the imperium are the people. So to see a chapter, a legion, whatever, that is like going against that, and they're not exactly very humanitarian in their nature, it's kind of like, what are you made for again? I mean, I know that the emperor just made them, and for him they are tools, but still they do have those inherent qualities. I mean, at least some of them do have these qualities, and that sense of purpose to protect. And it's just amazing how it's presented here. It's just fascinating because this Lamenter really, really cares, and he is absolutely shocked and appalled from all of the inconsistencies, ridiculous politics that get in the way of goodness, logic. It's just counterproductive and actually ended up hurting people. And it is very similar to what is happening today in our own lives with all of these politically correct stuff that are just not objective towards where reality or how things stand, and they do not understand the differences between protecting someone's right to express themselves and being actually, acting in an inadequate, crazy, and unreasonable ways. So this is absolutely brilliant. If all the 40k books or 30k books were so well written, I mean, some of them kinda are, some of them are, but you can argue that, when a dialogue or whatever it is in the books is written in a very pretentious manner, sometimes you just lose track of what they're actually trying to tell as a story. Once again, not all, but here I just don't make a lot of effort, following what he's trying to portray. I'm just into it. I'm actually very immersed into it. I don't have to, make an extra effort to be in it, to understand what's happening. No, I got the picture. I got the whole scenes about everything that he told. Of course, the pictures do help, but still, even if they didn't, the narration as well is just amazing, and everything as a package. These videos are great, guys, and I got a request to cover also the one with the Tyranids, and I'm going to try to fulfill that request as well. And thanks, Matt. Thank you. So yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed this. Dear Stivey is someone that is a very good, that read a lot of books that are, fantasy and others. I think that you will totally love this. It's just very awesome. So this is the stuff of legends. I mean, this is why I love Warhammer 40k, Warhammer 30k, whatever it is that it has to do with the Warhammer universe, not the Warhammer fantasy, but this universe, because when Warhammer is good like that, it's really, really good. It has more depth and meaning. It's not just, Astartes are cool and they go and kill and they purge, we purge, I don't like this aspect actually, because it's just the very, very primal, on the surface level aspect of Warhammer that people only see that sometimes. They don't actually get into the deep stuff, and I like to get into the deep stuff because that's the substance. That's the actual meat on the bones, you know? Everything else is just the bones. But the actual meat on the bones, you know? The one thing that makes everything work together is the meat, is the ligaments, tendons of the bone, of the skeleton. It's not just the mere skeleton, that's what I want to say. So, yeah, if all Warhammer was like this, you know, to dig deep into what makes a particular faction or a chapter or character, who they are, what they stand for, why they're in such a way. And if this is true, I never heard that before to be true in the real lore, but the Lamenters can really figure out how to remove this flaw that, you know, all the Sanguinius sons have. This is going to be absolutely revolutionary and amazing because basically it is what is holding them back to be absolutely perfect, you can say. I mean, every Astartes chapter has their qualities and their flaws. Not so much the Ultramarines, but still, you know, there's some better fighters than other chapters. So the angels, they have, well, basically everything. They're great fighters. I'm not sure about strategy because Sanguinius himself is not really a guy that deals with a lot of strategy. In general, he is just very skilled. He's just there. He's fighting. He's winning, but he's not, you know, like, oh, I'm just gonna like do a lot of strategizing here. Some of the other brothers, his brothers, are better than that. So you cannot say maybe okay they're just perfect, all the angels, but they still very like complete authority if they didn't have this flaw. So that's freaking awesome. All the story about, you know, Tyrannus, how it happened, and I'm really happy that actually the story ended with our storyteller, the main lamenter, being alive and just be like a humanitarian who still keeps on going, but is doing it in a different way. He didn't just quit and said, I'm just gonna put a sword in my stomach now, you know, and just quit because I can no longer be what I used to be. No, he adapted to the situation. He went out of his way to still do the best that he can with the current situation. I'm sure that anyone else in such a situation, not only in Astarte but in general, when you have such a situation when you're put in totally different circumstances and all of a sudden you cannot perform what you thought that you should perform as a calling in your life. Many people cannot imagine this at least happening at all. And to take advantage of the situation instead of just totally get depressed and just die, you know, he made the best of it. He was like, what I can do now, I cannot be a mentor. Well, he can be basically a human, you know, and do the best he can and help people. That is just so profound. And it's absolutely amazing, guys, really. That is what we need in 40k. We just need more meaning. It's not only about the war, it's about why you're fighting the war. There's so many moving parts and elements to this. So yeah, absolutely an applause. And I'm gonna try to cover as soon as I can the other with the Tyrannet and whatever else is good. But this is the latest one at this point. As the Lord in Game of Thrones said, you meat is a bloody thought. Yeah. Okay, guys, so I don't know. If I have to give some kind of a rating, I would give, in such a genre, a 10 out of 10. Absolutely. I'm floored. Enjoyed it. It made me think. It made me excited. That's what I need. And that's what I got. So, guys, I love ya. Go and check the channel if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure you did. But go and check the channel. If you like to support me, you can just go and check on OnlyFans, where I do all of my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. My own physique updates and coaching. With that being said, guys, I love you. I love you too. I'm watching the chat, but I love you too, guys. My Primarchs, my golden Astartes.